What's up, everybody? How are you? Happy Wednesday. I hope everybody is doing well. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host Kevin Branzetti tonight. I don't know if anybody else will be joining us. If they do, we'll chop it up real hard. We are on YouTube Live, so if you have something to say, you can say what you want to say, type it in so we can talk about it. Not too much we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about some stuff. And let me get the sponsors out the way, and then I'll bring Kevin in and find out how he's doing. Daily Arts of Survival magazine, number one martial arts magazine in the country. We also have Soft Illusions Art Gallery. That's Malik and her mother behind me. We also have Reggie Wells Quality Speakers, Ingram Taxes, Melba Wilson, Leon Ellis Chocolat, and anybody else who ever wants to be a part of the sponsorship to get their name mentioned throughout the show, we will do that. We're going to talk about some stuff. First and foremost, let me ask my man Kevin Branzetti how he's doing.
Hey, good evening, Bill. A little under the weather, but not too bad.
Yeah, man. As you know, I've been sporadic with the shows because I want to give you the best content I can give you. Dr. Quarter, she was under the weather Monday, so I wasn't able to give you that. And I had we was in DC taking care of family stuff. And what's up, Mark? Mark said, "What's up, Kev?" Shout out to everybody that's going to be chiming in and watching and stuff like that. We appreciate you all. So, things are still the same in the city. Crime, the politics, Kev. I think the Democrats have the House, and I think the Republicans. No, it's the other way around. The Republicans have the House, and the Democrats have the Senate. Is that where we are?
Yeah, looks like it's going there. The Republicans now have the House.
Right. So, Trump is putting his bid in and running again, and I have my thoughts on that. I'm gonna ask you, what's your thoughts on that, Kev?
You know my thought. I don't want to ever see the guy in office ever again.
Right.
I even if there's some political things I agree with him on, I don't like him as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And so no, I don't want to ever see him in office again. And if he wins the Republican primary, it's another sad day.
Yeah, Kev, I totally agree with you on that. It's just so sad that Mark said that, them having a house isn't a good thing. Hey, Vera, with the wonderful last name. What do you feel about that, Kev? I know you always said.
My opinion on that. I think that's a very good thing. I always think you need balance. You cannot have one side controlling everything.
Right.
Because then we forget that we're supposed to talk to each other and try to find something on equal ground. So I think it's a very good thing Republicans control the House. If there was a Republican president, it would be a good thing to have Democrats controlling the House. So
yes,
I've always been very clear on that one. That you need that diversity in government.
No, right. I get that. Let me ask you this. I think diversity is good because when you're diverse, you hopefully you're open-minded to communicate. Mm-hmm. But the problem lies is that they don't do that. How do we get past that, Kev? You know what I'm trying to say?
We're still waiting for I'm going to call him the political messiah to come along, right? Like we are still waiting for that politician to say, my number one goal is to bring both sides together.
Right.
And I don't see this from either side, right? This is not, I'm not blaming one side or the other. I think they both stink.
Yeah. The one thing that you've said to me countless times, and I've had to agree with you is I don't want to paraphrase you. I'd rather quote you, but so I'm sure you'll pick it up. It's like when we talk about the worst candidates that we have to pick from. You know what I'm saying?
It's the best of the worst competition.
Yeah,
we're constantly voting for the best of the worst.
Absolutely.
And we're not voting for people that really really inspire us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you go back in history, and you and I weren't old enough, Kennedy inspired people,
Right, right.
right? Reagan inspired people. Obama
Mm-hmm.
inspired people,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That's not what we're seeing. Those are very rare candidates
Mm-hmm.
that come across that actually make you believe in something.
Yes.
Look, we all watched ads. My kids were getting nauseous watching ads of politicians, and it's just negative, negative, negative. You're the worst. The other guy's the worst. The other, you know, nothing. I didn't see a single ad saying, I have some solutions to fix cops and community, to bring parties together, to bring races together, to
Mm-hmm.
bring financial equity amongst people, to improve our schools and improve poverty. I heard none of that. I just heard this side's evil and that side's evil, and we scream and yell really loud, and we push everybody further and further apart. It's
Yes.
sad to watch, you know. But then again, is it our fault because good people don't run? I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
whose
Yeah.
responsibility is it to be the good person to run?
Yeah, Kev. I think it's yeah.
You know, Mark asked, but you're correct, Kevin. But are these Republicans sensible? And my answer is none of them are sensible. There's a few here and there, but
like
I don't
Darren.
think the Democrats are sensible, right? Like, let's look at New York State. New York State was an entirely Democrat-run state, from the city council, governor, to the state house, state assembly, all Democrat. And because of that, we came out with bail reform, because we had one side coming up with a plan, not talking to the other side. They didn't talk to people on the right. They didn't talk to prosecutors. They didn't talk to cops. They just did it. And we've all saw how bad that went. Doing bail reform was proper, and we should have done it, right? You shouldn't sit in Rikers for 6 weeks because you jumped the turnstile, right? Like that should never, ever happen. The reason a human being is in jail is because they didn't have $150 is ridiculous.
Right.
I'm with that. But we also can't have people pushing people onto subways every day and back out on the street. Like we can't live in that society either.
Hey, Kev, let me just read some comments. Mark said, "Yes, Kev, you're absolutely correct. But are the Republicans sensible?" And then Darren said, "He said Trump's inspired people, but it's sad. It's sad but true, but not in a good way." Then Mark also says, "Kevin, how have the country believed this election was stolen? Let's start there. January 6th was just a gathering of good-hearted Americans. Insane right now."
Look. People are still, heck, my mother is one of them, thinks that Bush stole the election going back to 2000, right? In Florida. There are always going to be people who are going to scream and yell, unfair, something went wrong. There are sore losers. Is there cheating that goes on in elections? Sure. Are there some bad votes in there? Sure. Do I think it changes a presidential election? No. Do I think in a small town you can have some fugazi stuff going on and change an election in a small town? Yeah, I think a city council kind of thing could do that. I watched the other day. I caught 15 minutes of Chappelle's presentation on Saturday Night Live. Did you see his discussion on Trump?
Yeah.
He hit it on the head of why people were inspired by Trump. Right? It was that, when Hillary was hitting him with, well, you cheated on, you didn't pay your taxes. And he's like, yeah, I don't pay my fair share because that's the rules you guys created. And I'll take advantage of it every single time. Right? I'm paraphrasing. He said it.
No. Right. Yeah. He did say something.
Yes. And it was like, everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe he actually said, we all know that. Rich people don't pay. Bill, you and I had a government job, right? There's no sneaking in our taxes. No. There's no, I can kind of weasel it. I'm paying and that's the end of it. But when you got big money, there's all sorts of little things, and they create all these extra tax laws, and they get politicians to put laws on the books to make it so they can deduct all these crazy things that's out of our stratosphere. So did Trump pay his fair share in taxes? No. Does Bezos or any other billionaire pay their fair share? No.
Right.
But our politicians in DC created those tax laws.
Right.
And they were bought, all of them. Left, right, didn't matter.
Let me answer your question. Now, I'm just asking you the mental. People know that, and people will still vote for him. Why do you think that is?
People know a lot of things. Well, know what? That he cheated on that he doesn't pay his fair share of tax. He didn't cheat.
Impeached twice, right?
Huh?
I'm just saying.
It's still
on his record. You and I know what things about record.
Actually, it's not on his record, right? Like, he's acquitted of the impeachment.
Okay.
Right? One house impeaches you, the other house does the trial, and he was acquitted. So that's no different than you getting locked up for a robbery and you get acquitted. You didn't do a robbery.
Right. Okay.
Right? He went through the process and got acquitted. Everything was on party lines. It's all crap. It's all a show. I don't like any of it.
Right. But that's what I'm trying to find out.
He didn't pay his taxes.
Go ahead. Please.
He didn't pay his taxes, his fair share, but neither did Clinton, Biden, Bezos. Name a rich person. None of them are paying their fair. They're using the letter of the law, but they helped write that law. So it's not Trump's not telling. Trump didn't say he's lying and cheating, but he donated to Hillary. He donated to Bill. He donated to Bush. He donated to every single one of them to get what he wanted.
Hold on.
And they all do it.
Keep talking.
Keep
talking, Kev.
They all donate to politicians to come up with, to help them create tax law that helps them, to help them come up with other laws that help them, so they can drill where they want to drill, or they can put factories where they want to build factories, or they can change zoning so they can build big buildings. Rich people, if the rule doesn't allow them to do it, they start lobbying politicians to change those rules. And they've been doing this since the beginning of our country. This is not new. It's not Republicans who do it. They both do it. Right. All of our politicians, Bill. Yeah. You go through every single person, your House speakers, your congressmen, your senators, they walk in valued at X. They walk out valued at 10 times what they walked in. Yeah. On a government salary. Where did that money come from?
Right.
How did these guys become millionaires, mega rich, working for government their whole life? You and I work for government our whole life. We ain't become mega rich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, joining us tonight, we got my man Amir, our brother Amir, joining us. What's up, Amir? How are you?
Hey, Kev, how you been, man? Good to see you guys.
Amir.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, Amir. No, it's
late
all
to
good.
The party. My bad.
No, it's all good. Well, just to bring you up to speed, we're talking about the Republicans have the House. The Democrats are trying to get the Senate. The former president is talking about he's running for a third election, and he starts off talking about drug dealers should get the death penalty. Like, I'm sure this dude is see, but this is the shit I'm talking about. He probably was sitting in his house smoking weed and smoking cocaine and hanging out with Hugh Hefner and all these other cats. You know what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden you want to sit here and talk about and it gets this, because what perfect rhetoric to say, and just stay with me, fellas. What perfect rhetoric to say, because crime is prevalent right now. So now you want to blame it on drugs, right? You're not talking about people.
Did he mean like guys like El Chapo, or did he mean like Johnny on the corner?
Johnny on the corner.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. He's still talking about anybody selling drugs. They should get the death penalty. Right.
Well, I'm anti-death penalty to begin with, so I
right. But so this is what I'm trying to say, Kev and Amir.
Yeah,
right. But you just now, if he would have said anybody caught killing somebody might say, oh, okay, maybe that might, even though, like you said, we're still, you might be anti-death penalty, I don't know your stand on it, man. You can tell us in a few minutes. But the thing is, you go to drugs. How did you go to drugs? And then this is what your rhetoric is, and you come in here with the rah-rah shit. I personally feel he's been so divisive in things that he's done. I think the country is so terrible. I think people have come out of the, i.e., and I'm using the word closet, or from under the rock, and spewed so much negativity all over the world. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So, Amir, give me your thought, and then Kevin, you pick it up. You know what I mean?
Okay, a couple of things here. First off, as always, thank you, for having me on the show, Kevin. Like I said, it's great to see you, sir. So I hope all has been well with you and your family. Bill, salute, and hope all is well with you and your family as well. Before we even get to his latest statement, because I got to preface it with this. Did either of you see the other two, I think they're senators, if I'm not mistaken, who had similar things that they said as part of their campaign run? Something along the lines of, the next time you find yourself in trouble, call a crackhead, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if either of you have seen the other two gentlemen who are part of this new cycle of idiocy. But I bring that into the context because, to your point, there is an unfortunate pattern and game plan that they seem to be utilizing as a way to do what they always do, which is scare people into this ideology that whatever group of people they're speaking of, this appears to be their main form of lifestyle. This is how they choose to live their life. And the numbers and the parts of that are just such small percentages that it's scary and sad. That's the first thing I'm going to say about that. The second thing I'm going to say about that is, to his point, if we're going to go after the drug dealers, as he said, and the people who are killing people, then I hope this includes Big Pharma, because I don't know anybody who has a better track record than they do. So if we're going to shoot at people, and if we're going to, pull out and make sure that everybody's under this umbrella that he's speaking of, please make sure we include that group of people as well. This is why I have such a tough time with that gentleman in particular, and the stuff that he says that he brings to a larger audience and allows them to take those sound bites and run with it. And personally, hearing that he was running again, I just was like, God help us. But there is this unfortunate thing too, where here in this country, we are led to believe that everybody supposedly has inalienable rights when it comes to specific things. Now, fortunately, unfortunately, we've seen through the course of our lives that doesn't prove to or always ring to be true. And this is just another case of it. Personally, I thought that after the loss of his last run at this situation, I was hoping he would just go back to being a regular annoying citizen as he had been prior to him, being in office. And we could just go back to smiling at the special things that he did as a normal regular citizen. I know he can't ever get regular citizen back after, being a former president. You don't fall back into that category. But I thought he would, fold back into society and just be annoying at the space he is already in society, where we could just kind of go, okay, and just not be bothered. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's what I'm gonna say about that. I wish I could remember the other two senators, because, like I said, literally those two gentlemen had similar things that they said in their campaign run, and I just, like, when I first saw it, I was just like in shock, because I was like, is this what we've come to? We've come to the point where, as opposed to running on the merits of family or whatever other amazing things that you might feel you need to bring to the table as far as helping our communities improve, helping the world improve, you want to supposedly single out specific groups and act as though that's the catalyst and that's the reason and the bane of whatever issues and problems you have. Oh, that's bad. But
Yeah.
okay, this is what we're doing. So
Well, first off, good evening, Amir, and thank you. It's been a while.
yes.
It's nice to see you, and I hope you and your family are well as well. I don't watch his speeches, and I will not watch his speeches. And then I don't, unless he becomes relevant again, meaning we're in the primary thing and he is, winning. I'm not watching him, and I don't even like talking about him. Right? I will in this stage, and I will talk, but I am enjoying like looking at the New York Post and seeing articles written about him saying that then people aren't interested. Right? If I read that in the Times, I'd be skeptical, but reading it in the Post, which leans more right, tells me there's some fact behind this, right? That his crowd wasn't the same, that his donors aren't behind them this time. I want him to be irrelevant. And the way to make somebody irrelevant, ignore the hell out of them. So that's where I'm going to go. I wish you had the ads for those two senators because I'm intrigued. Because part of it, where you said it could just be, to me, it almost sounds like somebody going the opposite of defund the police, right? Because I've seen people talk about that. All right, you don't want me coming anymore as the cop? Call a crackhead. Let them come help you. I've seen plenty of cops with memes with that over the last 2 years, right? And seeing a politician say it, that wouldn't offend me as much. I'm still going to go back to my beginning statement. I would love to find that first politician that said unity instead of constantly feeding raw meat to their audience, and seeing how loud people can bark and scream and scratch and claw at each other. But unfortunately, we ain't there.
This is I'm glad both of you are making up great points. And, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I have my co-hosts Amir, Celia, and Kevin Branzetti in the building. And we're talking about the elections. We're talking about Trump. A lot of people, when they were voting, Biden didn't have good ratings, midterm ratings. But, the world was stuck on, pro-choice, crime. You looked at Pennsylvania, Fetterman and Oz. You looked at, Warnock and Herschel Walker are still going through their thing. You have a Generation Z that just got elected. You have a first black, I think, governor in, is that Wisconsin or someplace? I forgot where is he at. Minnesota, somewhere.
Minnesota, something like that.
So, and people were shocked, and you looked at all the specialists, and they talked about how this was so different because they a lot of people, even Stefania that tunes in with us, a lot of us kind of thought, let's be real, that it was like, okay, there might be a red sweep, even in New York. Like Hochul, she blew him out the water. You know what I'm trying to say? Like he didn't even get a leg to stand on. And Kevin, you and I have had discussions about that because the bottom line is, like somebody always says, I say this a lot. Orange and blue, people have told me the best color is purple. You know what I'm saying? And we need that mixture because the bottom line is too much of everything. Like you said, Kevin, earlier in the show, they didn't talk to law enforcement or people and stuff about these legislations, laws that they've changed and stuff like that have people right now up in arms like, the world is crazy. Like you and I talked about, I personally couldn't vote for a guy that said that he felt Trump won the election and it was rigged. But also too, I told you I had questions about Hochul. She's talking about, why are we talking about crime? Like crime is not there. Like really? Like come on, lady. Like let's get it on. You got
well, when you have a security team around you 24/7, crime isn't there.
Absolutely. It is, and it'll never be there. It'll never be there because they're going to protect her. We have a man now that's coming back. And like Vera said, it's not a good thing. It's not going back. He is not going back. He felt the power of the office and he wants it back. Yes, he will try to take over this time for real. Last time was the test run. That's real. I think when he first got into office, he couldn't believe he made it because remember one of his debates, he told Hillary, he said, "Yeah, when you win, this and that and that." And then when he won, it was like a deer in headlights. He was lying. And then all of a sudden, that businessman Trump jumped in, and he ran and he said what he said, and I think he's been so divisive in things that he's done. I have a problem with that. Who do you think the Republicans have to even run against him? Because Pence just came out with a book right now talking about it. Pence says he's talking about running. What does they say? DeSantis, Trump is going at him hard. I don't even know what we're going to do with the Democrat side of things. You know what I'm saying?
First of all, there's an easy target in the White House because Biden is doing it. I'm sorry, an awful job. Right? So he's an easy target. And this is why Biden won, because Trump was an easy target.
Right.
Biden didn't win because Biden
is good.
People.
Right.
Everybody walked.
We agree.
If this guy ran, the same amount of people would have voted for him that voted for Biden. Right? Like that was all anybody but Trump votes. That was the whole election, was people for Trump and against Trump, nobody for Biden. That's what Biden is now.
Yeah.
So I, as long as it's not Trump, I think he's going to get slaughtered at this point. Do I like a couple of them? Sure.
I think the real challenge for the situation in general, because to me doesn't just boil down to the two parties. It boils down to a couple of things. First off, you're right. Trump seemed to be overwhelmed or whatever when he got into the office or whatever. But let's be clear. The man's track record as a businessman is abysmal. I see what I hate is how we, try to schmooze things over, make things seem. His track record as a businessman is abysmal. So that should tell everybody that if he can't or he doesn't do well in the business world in which he's supposed to be so famously deep rooted in, then what are we talking about? This man does not do well. If you go from his business acumen to his ability to communicate ideas, you and I are the three of us that are on these squares. I'm probably might be the least educated of the three of us. And by that, I simply mean I didn't go to college and so forth and so on. But I have yet to get on here and go, Bill and Kevin, I'm very, very, very serious about what I'm like, dude, really? You're the leader of the free world, and the best you could do is add certain, words to make the sentences appear longer and act as though you're giving us real information. Look, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a scholar or anything like that, but that should be another telltale sign for us all. And I'm not saying that the most eloquent and/or greatest person who has the ability to speak makes them a great leader, but that should be a telltale sign for a lot of us. That's one. Secondly, Biden, God bless him. And this to me goes for darn near just about any president. If you're not somewhere squarely in your late 40s or whatever, I don't think you should be president. If you're beyond 50 or so, first of all, there's too much pressure. You got too many things that you have to constantly think about. Every person who goes in there seems to go in there one hair color, and they're at least two or so lighter shades hair color by the time they leave, which tells me that's a stressful job. With that again being said, let's stop electing guys who are 799 years old.
I go in as this and I leave as that.
I don't care if these guys have had the opportunity to have 6 decades under their belt. Yes, that's a great thing. What they could probably be is arguably phenomenal advisors. Why? Because they have the longevity and they have the sense of knowing they've been in a few decades. So they have those decades under their belt to be able to give good advice. But like I said, if you're in your 40s, whatever, I think somewhere around there should be any of the candidates that go for any of the offices. We've said this before. I just think that the fact that you can get elected and then pretty much stay in there, and I'm not talking about the presidency, but I'm talking about the Senate and so forth in there, for 955 years is absolutely horrible. Because again, you came in 1954. We are now in 2022, about to be 2023. You have no idea about what's going on in the world anymore. Because when you got in the house, you still were under the impression that all women were supposed to be housewives and stay at home. Like, just the whole ideology and the way the world was working was so different for you. the fact that we don't incorporate and or utilize the generations as they come up, because as the generations come up, there are different nuances that are now a part of what the world and how the world moves and thinks. I said this last week, Kev, because I know you didn't have the opportunity to join us, but I mentioned this to Bill because he, just mentioned again. I'm of the mind frame and the mindset. The one thing that I'm very clear with, because I have the opportunity to speak to a lot of these young people, while they may lack certain things in other areas that for us seem to be weird, the one thing that they don't appear to be is fearless. And I think that level of fearlessness is what is carrying the new wave that we're seeing throughout the elections and throughout the country. Because these kids, our children, our grandchildren, have grown up and said, you know what? Pop and Mama and them didn't really do so well when they had the reins, a little while ago. I'm not saying everything that they did was bad or good, but I'm saying there's some things that they could have done better. And I feel like they're saying to themselves, these are things and situations that we have to handle differently and most certainly do better. And that's what I'm hoping we're going to continue to see with this influx of new, young energy being a part of the wave that we see going on. So, like I said, I just see things so much differently than most because I read people for who and what they are. Trump has already proven to me to not be very good at any of the things that he's done previously. And like I said, that doesn't make him a bad person. His track record is his track record. I find it interesting that in every other walk of life, if you were to be going into business, you wouldn't go into business with a businessman whose business acumen is trash. Why would I invest with you when I see everything that you've done to this point has never proven to work for anybody? Now, has his name continued to ring? No question, but we know how that goes. That's just like people on social media. You're popular because people are looking at you and watching your face. But does that mean you know anything? Does that mean you are prepared for what people are asking of you? And I think that's what we're up against for both parties. Like neither of these parties have a clear-cut vision. And because they're using these elder statesmen, and they are elder statesmen, who, like I said, are outdated. And to Kevin's point, because I know Kevin is the fact checker here on the show. Look at a lot of these guys' track records. No, and I'm not Kevin. I'm not
that's a joke that we always have because he is.
I think I put a star on my chest for that one. I'm not insulted.
He's a fact checker, but I mean this. But I mean that by saying this.
With all sincerity, yes.
Yeah, even for, like you said, a gentleman like Joe Biden. And again, this goes for so many. This is again why I get semi upset about some of this. If you look at Joe Biden's track record early on in his political career, to the point that you guys are making about crime and certain things, he signed on to a lot of the foolishness that has led to where we are early on. So you can't tell me that if you signed in '83 and said, look, we're going to put people away and do this and do that. Now we get to 2022. You can't go back and go, well, I'm sorry. You know how many generations and families you messed up in that time frame, sir?
Yeah.
Where's the accountability? And we have all of these leaders who, fortunately or unfortunately, that's another big thing. If we're not having accountability, then exactly what are we talking about?
I mean, Biden, Trump, and everybody else, they go with the way the wind blows. It is not. Trump was a Democrat and pro-choice, right? Like he then became pro-life because he thought became Second Amendment guy. He was not a Second Amendment guy. Guys, he's from New York City.
Yes.
Right? People from New York City are not crazy Second Amendment people. Which is he was not, but he went that way. Biden, as you said, he's changed over the years. Obama did it. Bush did it. Clinton did it. Like nobody's innocent.
Okay, so let me just say this. Now, you're right, Kev. All right, what you said in the mirror, you're totally right too. Both of you guys are right. Now, that leads to my question is, can somebody change their mind? Because Trump, there's a video out on Trump, like Mars said, he said, questionable fact checker. He's laughing at you. And he says, Trump said, yo, if I run for Republican, they'll vote for me because I'll say shit. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but there's a video out here that he said, and lo and behold, he's did it. Damn near, I don't know. I ain't gonna call him a prophet, but I might call him Lucifer, or I might call him a Pied Piper. You know what I'm trying to say? Because hey, Cheryl, what's going on? What's up, Rob?
But on the other end of it, Amir, you are allowed. You know what? Decades later, I got to stick up for Biden on this, and this pains me. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to grow, right? I mean, we've all done it. I mean, you can't tell me you have the same exact beliefs you had when you were 22 years old today.
No, you're absolutely right. And
so I got to give Biden the pass on that one and say, you know, he grew.
And I'd like, and here's my thing. In all fairness, under most circumstances, I'd always like to believe that. But here's where it truly gets weird for me. If that's the case, and like this is what I said about accountability, because the three gentlemen, or your other two gentlemen in these squares, I'm not sure how much of this you do, but I know I do this for myself. When I know that I've done something wrong, though, at this stage of my life, and I'm 53 years old, then I say, hey, to your point, at 23, I was a little off cut. I'm waiting. Have you seen Biden say it? Have y'all seen Trump say it? So I don't know if you've changed because, like you said, you're swinging with the wind and you're going with what, like you said, will get you the energy and the that you need. See, I don't get on here and go with things that are gonna, get people swaying with me. I get on here and I say what I mean and I stand behind it, because at the end of the day, your character and who you are as a man or a woman is, for me, what I'm into. I can care less about track records of this and that and the third, because in front of the camera or even behind the camera, everybody could appear to be pristine and great. But when you get in front of this format here and you speak to a room of people or you speak to a group of people or whatever the case may be, and at that point you then do or don't give real information, I'm looking at you sideways. I don't care who you are. I don't care what walk of life you're in.
Yeah.
That's just me. You understand?
I completely agree with you. And look, I've done it on this show, and that's actually what got Bill and I talking. How I got on the show was me admitting I was wrong with something in my past. Right? You have to say it, and you got to be sincere about it. And it wasn't something that was brought up to anybody. Nobody knew, but I brought it up to Bill and said, you know what, I was wrong with this.
Yeah, I think we would all, and I'll say we all, and I'm just talking figuratively, would love to see a politician that would come out and say, yo, I feel this way. I said this. I'm sorry. I did this. I'm wrong. So what? I made a mistake, but this is what I'm going to do going forward. I'm rectifying this. I'm trying to do that. Kev, like you always said, what about, there's always a healing process. There's no one talking about healing. It's like playing bad chess or stupid checkers, like not even just regular checkers. You're playing Chinese checkers. Oh, I'm gonna jump backwards, and you know what I'm trying to say? Like, oh, I can make that move. Wait a minute. What do you mean? Like, how do you make that happen? And I think that lies the problem what we have right now in politicians. Like people talk. There's nobody really trying to go against their party lines or partisan, to say, oh well, listen, just because I'm a Republican doesn't mean
I agree with
the person should stay in jail. For like Kevin, like you said earlier the show, for a year that couldn't pay $150 or $500 fine. Like nobody's saying that. Listen, there's no Democrat talking about coming out talking about, yo, listen, if you do the crime, you should do the time. We need to hear that. I want to see that politician, and I think both of you guys would love to hear that. Comments, questions, anybody?
Unfortunately, they only look at the votes and see where it takes them. The only person I give some credit in that direction is Adams.
Yeah.
Adams will go across the thing, and I think he's still over his head. Not that I don't mean that insulting by any stretch of imagination. Being the mayor of New York City, and this is a problem with the entire city council, is a very progressive, left-leaning city council. And there's no moderates or people to the right to even it out, right? So they're hardcore with the diaphragm law and all the crazy things that they're pulling there, and Eric can't fight them. Like it's a difficult fight, to go because they outvote him. They have enough votes to whatever he says, they're going to beat him anyway. Then he looks bad because they beat him. So he's in a a tough thing, but he goes out there a little bit he's not afraid to say to somebody on the left, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. This is a problem. He's not saying crime is fake in the city of New York.
And even that, like, because it's so funny. If I'm not mistaken, there also was somebody who won, I think, recently in this midterm, whatever. But he showed up and he did his acceptance speech, and I think he had like a sweat jacket, and his kids and his wife looked real regular.
Fetterman, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Okay. Look, like I said.
I'm sorry. Put on a shirt and tie. I'm sorry. I'm gonna side against. Put it on.
No, but Kev, hear me out. What I'm saying about that, though, in all fairness, and this is what I mean, a shirt and tie again does not necessarily constitute that you are astute. It doesn't constitute that you are business savvy or any of those things. When we're getting up here, we're having these conversations. I just happen to put this button up on, like I said, to get on here with you, and I see both of you are, comfortable. But I'm saying that to say this. No,
that was a polite way to say we look like shit.
No. What I'm trying to say.
I mean, listen, we all have a certain comfortability zones.
Yeah,
and that is who a bear is exactly. So yes,
and the thing about it is when you find whatever that comfortable zone is, for you and Bill, you're hitting the nail on the head. That's what I'm talking about. I don't need you to go and be things that you're not. I need you to be who you are because, like I said, when it comes down to it, I'm questioning your true character. I've been to too many plays. I done watched too many movies. I done seen too many things where people put on shows, and after the lights go on, and you're like, so you just put on a whole show for everybody, and that has nothing to do with anything. So I don't want to see that. I want you to be your true character. So this way, if and when I have questions, I can go, you know what? I saw that from the beginning, and I know who you are.
Yeah.
Character should be what comes into question more so than anything else that we have to deal with when it comes to politicians, when it comes to everyday people, whatever it may be. I work in corporate America, and I have been for 33 years. One of the issues that I have in corporate America, and this, again, I'm just saying this because it's on a broader scale. So many people are what they think their job is, meaning if you're an executive director in a specific company, you act as though that's who you are. So when we're not in the confines of the company, who are you? You gentlemen are former police officers. If you're not, don't have your badge on, if you're not in uniform, are you not still human beings? Are you not still men who still have to be a part of what the real world is? That's what I'm talking about, Kevin, Bill. I'm not saying that, people can't dress up or dress. What I'm saying is be exactly who and what you're supposed to be. So this way we know who and what we're dealing with versus the showmanship. And then we have to kind of look sideways like, are we sure that? I don't want to do that. I don't care whether, like I said, what walk of life you in. Let's get to that, because then this way I know what I'm dealing with. I've gone my whole entire life. I always tell people this. I'd much rather you just be who you are, because then I can't get upset about the foolish stuff you do, because I'm like, that's who you are. Our problem is, to your point about running these races and stuff, they put on these airs. Well, I'm pristine. And no, you're not. You're a knucklehead, and it's okay. But here's what'll happen. We'll know that you're a knucklehead, and then I'll have to make a conscious decision. Do I want a knucklehead in here doing? No, I don't think so. Then we know what we're working with. That's all. Anything short of that, what are we doing? Because now, like you said, we got to play catch up. And I don't need 4 years of you acting special to then come back and go, you know what? Kev fooled us that whole entire time. Bill was not who he said he was.
Absolutely. Yo, I got Amir, people talking about that's real talk, what you drop in science. Mark said, yo, Kevin wears his uniform around the house, not just on Halloween either.
Sometimes.
Shit. What's up, Stefania? I see you in the building. I see your question. We're going to talk about that young lady in Mexico too. I don't know if anybody else heard about that, but we'll get back to that situation. Yeah, so fellas, it's just sad that we're like Kevin. You say it all the time. We got the worst to pick from, You know, it's so sad. Like you said, Eric is trying to do his thing. Yo, Kevin, what's your take on Herschel Walker and Warnock in Atlanta? If you have any thoughts on it in Georgia, I mean.
Another one of those that I semi-ignored.
Right.
Right. Like, well, the truth of it is, it's right. It's a Georgia election. I have no sway in it. I don't vote in it. Right. And to watch the clown show.
Did you like what David Chappelle said about Herschel Walker?
Right. Yeah. Listen, David Chappelle should run for president. He is the most brilliant man alive. Every time that guy speaks and does a sketch, he is freaking brilliant.
Yo,
I would vote for him any day of the week.
Yo, he said the one thing that you don't use is the and Jews in the same sentence.
He says it all so well. Like, he knows how to.
He's an excellent storyteller. He's an excellent storyteller.
And he's not one-sided, right? He tells great stories. Like I said earlier, the Trump story. There's a story he talks about slavery.
Yeah.
Right, where he talks about the slave who was freed, starts to make some money. And the first thing is, he's a black man, right, in the South. First thing he does after he makes some money is he buys slaves.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and he tells this because he wants everybody. It's just, he makes you think.
He's thought-provocative. He definitely
multiple directions. He's by far my favorite human being.
Yeah. I mean, just like he said. And then, you know, Michael Rappaport, he laughs because he hates Donald Trump. He said, yo, his son used that snippet from David Chappelle's show and thought it was a compliment when he was talking about his father. He was like, yo, he called him D-Stain Donald. Yo, he was like, yo, his son is stupid too. I was like, yo, listen, you know, it's just crazy. Like I saw a post or somebody was like, oh, I want Trump to get back in office because I'm tired of paying these high gas prices. But you're the first, you might, and I'm not saying that person is, but you'll be the next person. Like, you can't talk about a high gas prices when you go to a Starbucks and you buy a latte, espresso, cappuccino, Love Jones, and for $7 and $8. I don't get it. I've never
no, I can buy that and still complain about gas prices. I'm allowed to complain about gas prices.
No, you're allowed to do anything you want to, but I'm saying, if you are complaining about some damn coffee, you know what I'm saying?
And again, that's my point. One of the real interesting things about sticking points or bulletin points, whatever, verbiage you want to use, when it comes to our politicians and the world of things like that. Kevin, you're absolutely right. You can't complain about it, but in theory, you got to say to yourself, so wait, it's okay for you to pay $7 for coffee, but then, like you said, you're upset about the gas prices. If we're going to be upset, we got to be upset about all of them. Don't pick and choose. Our issue as
coffee is an option for me. That kind of coffee is a treat once in a while, and I feel like having it. And I don't have it often. I make my own.
No question, Kevin. But there are a lot of people, and you have to think about this. Starbucks isn't one of the premier coffee places and things that people do by accident. So obviously, there's a lot of people drinking and paying $7 for some coffee.
100%.
So my point to it is, again, if we're going to be upset and if we're going to fix things, then fix them all. Our problem as human beings, this is me speaking for me and the way I see things, is we pick and choose where we think we should apply pressure about things as opposed to applying pressure straight across the board. Because if coffee prices are high and gas prices are high, then everything is too high. The real reason why we find ourselves in these situations, you go to, like you said, we all New Yorkers. You've lived in, and I know Bill's, formerly from Harlem. You go to the bodega now. I was in my corner bodega. A regular cookie this big is $3. When I was a kid, my pops used to bring home a whole Louisiana crunch cake from Edmonds for that money. You understand what I'm saying? So and I'm just saying that again because I want people to keep things in perspective. Our problem is, like I said, we tend to, oh well, no, it's a problem. When I'm paying $3 and some change just for one cookie, when back in the days that would get you a whole pack of Oreos or a whole pack of chocolate chip cookies. Like, what are we talking about?
Yo, 25 cents or 50 cents for the white, the vanilla and the chocolate, and you get like 8 in a pack. I tell you, my little fat ass was like that.
But do you understand what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying these things. Like I said, I'm not saying them, like you said, there are choices, but the reality of it all is they're also, for some people, that's it. They don't have any other choice because the way that the system has been set up, there's no balance. There's no, oh my goodness, let's make it so that people can fairly be in situations where they can survive. So when you start doing that and you start forcing people to be either on this side of the spectrum or that side of the spectrum, that's where things become very scary for both sides. And that's what they've been able to do. So that's what I'm saying. Let's get some balance here. Let's stop with the look. They still got people trying to pay for bags here in New York. Well, COVID is quote unquote over, or at least it's been said to have
now
been whatever.
RBS or some shit like that. It's
But you still go to the supermarket and they still got you paying. And I'm looking at these dudes going, we paying for bags. Why?
25 cents.
And here's my thing. That doesn't sound like, and it's not that it's a lot of money, but my point to it is I just came in here and I spent $30 in groceries. So now I got to carry these in my hand back to my home. Now, to the point that both of you have made about crime. Back in the days, if you had seen somebody with butter, some water, a loaf of bread, and this and that and third in their hand, you think that they took it from the store. Absolutely. So come on, stop. That's my point. We got to stop. You at some point you got to, hey, let's get things back to some sort of normalcy in the sense of what normalcy can and should be. I'm not saying that we're ever going to go back to what we were pre-pandemic, pandemic, whatever version of it you want to look at. But I'm saying at some point we got to go, whoa, okay, everybody, let's calm down. And if we're not doing that, then what are we doing? What are we doing?
I got used to the plastic bag thing. I have my own bags. They're in my car. I've gotten used to it. But there's also a difference. I'm always driving to the supermarket. I'm not walking. So I'm never in a scenario where I've walked into the supermarket, forgot my bags. I just take the shopping cart to my car, dump everything in my trunk, and I go home. And then I put it in the bag and bring it upstairs.
A lot of people, like you said, I'm fortunate that I drive. I mean, you don't drive, right? So that doesn't work for you, pushing a cart. Where you gonna push the cart to? So Kevin, right? I'll drive to the supermarket, or wherever. I can go to Target or wherever, a store, a supermarket, and drive up and then push the cart to the car. And Malik and I. But the thing is, we have learned how to change, even though it's been forced. Like growing pains, like you're getting older as a child or a person, and your feet get bigger. Even if you get fatter, you know what I'm saying. Your shoe size may change. We people don't like change, but people have to understand we're not going back to the way it used to be. No. We're not. But the thing is, we want to change for the better, not for the worse. We want to change for reasons that benefit all. Just like I'm the president of my board in the thing. Anytime I speak in the building, I speak for the tenants. I don't speak for myself, because if I speak for myself, then I'm going to ask for this. I'm going to ask for that. I'm going to ask for that. If I get it in my apartment, my co-op, I want everybody to get in any co-op. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think that in lies a problem where all three are saying that, listen, just be fair. And let's get a politician in the office that's going to make it right. Yo, I want to shift real quick because Amir and I touched on it last week. Mark said, Kevin, you're like a pumpkin spice kind of guy.
Yeah, maybe sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, like Colin said.
Are you offering, Mark?
Yeah. He can give you some pumpkin spice. I want to ask you your opinion. I don't know if you know about the Kanye and the Kyrie situation. If you know about it, what's your take on it? Ern said, we have to embrace change because it's going to happen no matter what. You're totally right, Ern. And I think we are stuck. A lot of us are stuck. Listen, we need to know what change is about. Listen, everybody, change, the best and the worst change that we all have to accept is that we're getting older. You know what I'm saying? And if we can embrace that, then we have to understand when we was kids, we could run and burn off anything. Now, all of a sudden, if we don't run, we'll be like, oh, wait a minute, I'm pre-diabetic. Or if I don't run, I got high cholesterol. Like, you don't really find a lot of young kids with problems, you know what I'm saying, high blood pressure, because ain't nothing stressing his little ass out, or he or she. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is do your damn homework, little son of a gun. I mean, I'm sure the kids nowadays accrue problems that, the only thing that I remember stressing me out when I was a kid, if I came home with an F, I knew I was going to get an ass whipping. And I was like, oh, if that was going to cause high blood pressure, then I got it. You know what I'm saying? But otherwise than that, my life was great. You know what I'm saying? We have to definitely, that's it. Come on, Kev, I'm gonna run for office. You want to be my VP? Come on.
I'm in.
All right.
Well, why can't I be the president? You be the VP.
I don't care. Listen, see, that's the difference. You and I got it. We don't care who gets there as long as we bring the other one. You know what I'm saying? We don't care who gets there as long as the other one brings somebody else along. And Amir, you too, because the bottom line is it's all about understanding and having minds. Shout out to my uncle on this. He always said to me, he said, if you talk to yourself, then you're only talking to a fool. You know what I'm saying? You got to talk to other people to learn and expound on situations that you may not be knowledgeable of, and you need somebody to help you give you another sight on something. Stefani said, unfortunately, a lot of kids have high BP, blood pressure, and diabetes these days. Well, Stefani, you just enlightened me on something, because they done added some stress to their lives that I'm sure the three of us right here didn't have. Like I said, all we had to do was just get an A. You know what I'm saying? In school.
To Stefania's point, though, probably, one of the things that we're more so up against than ever before is we also grew up, technically speaking, in a time and an era, though, where we had home cooked meals. That is not a thing of the past, but it's most certainly not something that's at the forefront of a lot of what we're seeing now. Even when you factor in fast food restaurants, because we only had a few. Burger King and McDonald's were, predominantly in White Castles, obviously. But now you got Chick-fil-A, you got Taco Bell. You have all of these other newer, places and spaces. And let's be clear. I know, because again, like I said, I watch as I move around my neighborhood. The Chinese restaurant is always packed. The pizza shop is always packed. In these various places. If you're not getting home cooked meals, because we grew up on, watching your parents snap string beans and make string beans and cabbage and things of that magnitude, and real food, there's a pretty good chance that they might be in those spaces because their diet predominantly consists of those negative things that don't have such a positive effect overall, on the body. So I could understand and see why, Stefania added that to the mix.
No, and I get it. I mean, times change. I did a speaking engagement in the school, Amir, and like I said something, and these girls was like, oh, well, there's gay girls in here and gay people in here. I was like, okay. I wanted to say, I see you two girls hugged up each other. When did that become part of the curriculum in the class where y'all could just hug up? You know what I'm saying? Like what happened to just when I was growing up in school, I wasn't able to hold my little girlfriends. I had a crush hand and shit. You know what I'm saying? Now two girls or guys can just hug up in class.
Yeah, it's a different.
First, a lot of things, especially with these shows. I don't want to change the topic, but I had to because this is my rant. They're doing too much with the shit with the stuff for just forcing the certain gay agenda down a person's throat. I'm all for my gay family. I love them. I have gay in my family. I have gay friends. I have that I call brothers and sisters. All that. I'm all for that. But if you now all of a sudden Minnie Mouse got to wear, she can't be called Minnie. She got to be called they. Let's knock it off. You know what I'm trying to say? Just like the shit is getting a little too carried away. Now, I asked you, Cheryl said definitely a different world. Stefani said absolutely correct. Diet related. Joseph said playing tag, roundup. Yeah, exactly. Like Ern and Darren said, he said we were more active and had programs available to keep us active. Absolutely. Darren also said we grew up in the streets, not playing video games inside all day long. Exactly. I've heard people say
that's all our fault. We complain about how kids are being raised. We raise them.
Yes, absolutely.
Kevin. I agree with you, Kevin.
Nobody. We gotta put the mirror in front of your faces and go. I mean, I ain't perfect, man, but there's dinner every night.
No,
like I said, Friday nights, I cook dinner for them.
Yo, you cook dinner and you take them rock climbing and all kind of shit. They probably got They probably got deer stew in that motherfucking house.
But that's
roadkill stew.
But that's what I was saying, Kev. Like I said, that's why I said I didn't say everybody, but I know, unfortunately, there appear to be more people who are along those lines. I've been, like I said, in the various things in my neighborhood, and I'm always amazed. I see kids, the counter's this high. Kid will grab a pizza off the top and be like, "All right, I'm gonna take this home." And I'm like, "You can't even see over the counter, and your mom that sent you here to get a whole pizza pie and some So I know, because I remember coming up in my house. It was 5 of us, 4 boys, 1 girl. My mom's, look, y'all pick a night. Everybody's got a night to cook. And whatever it is you want to cook, you can cook. But every night, somebody's going to take the responsibility of making sure that we had a home cooked meal, because my mother and father had to work and, all that kind of stuff.
Listen,
just, you said, it's changed.
Yo, correct me if I'm wrong. On Sunday, moms cooked enough meals so you had leftovers for Saturday, for Monday. Tuesday, it might have been a universal. Tuesday and Wednesday might have been a universal deal. Thursday, it might have been a leftover from Wednesday or something quick, maybe some quick chicken. And then Friday, you could eat what you want to eat. Maybe have some chicken wings and French fries or a pizza party or some
Friday's pizza night.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And listen,
it was fish in our house.
Mom wasn't cooking on Friday and Saturday. She didn't play that shit. You know what I'm saying? But listen, I mean, we all knew, we all grew up in a household that Sunday dinner was a family, and we still ate all together. You know what I'm saying? Yes. We still ate all together. And Sunday, the lady of the house or the man of the house would cook, and everybody was eating together, or there was going to be some ass whippings in that house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was no, well, you don't like that. What would you like? There was no secondary choice.
What would you like? Yo, you're gonna
like that, but none of us
like it,
right? But we did that, right? We raised our kids on chicken fingers.
Yes.
And
right? And say,
chicken nuggets.
Here you go. Here you go. Here's chicken nuggets. Here's the nuggets. Here's the nuggets. And you just keep going.
But let me ask you a question, and I still want to get back to the
Kyrie
question.
I want to ask you guys thing. Why did we change? Why not just us?
Busy.
But it's almost like we changed the way we were brought up that made us who we are, and we wanted to downsize. Like it's almost like we rebelled from the way we were brought up, and we're all law-abiding citizens, no matter what our profession is. But we just said, no, I don't want to raise my kid that way. I don't want to hit my child. I don't want to make my child do this. I want to hear their voice. I grew up in a household where I was being seen and heard when I was asked a question. Until I didn't get to 16, maybe then I had a little voice where I was like, I don't want to do that. And you'd be like, what happened? I don't want to do that, sir, please. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to put some salt and sugar on that shit at the end.
Remember answering the phone? Hello, Branzetti residence. How may I help you?
Yeah.
And I didn't teach my kids that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Malika and I called the place. I'm gonna let you say it. I mean, Malika and I called the establishment yesterday, and we said, "Do you have that?" He said, "Yeah." Who do you call it? We call it Pookie's Chop House. What the fuck is this? He was like, "Yeah." You're representing an establishment, moron. Yeah, go ahead, man.
I think to both your points, I think you're absolutely right. I think what has happened though is beyond the not wanting our children to be raised under certain guises that we found ourselves raised under, there is this really idiotic ideology that we have that seemingly what we went through, we tend to believe in some ways was either bad, didn't do what it was supposed to do. Now, For some of us, that might be true. But I think for the greater good of us and the greater portion of us, it absolutely did exactly what it was supposed to do. Because to my knowledge, and I know I fall in the generation, I think we X or something like that.
Yeah.
We all work extremely hard. We all seem to be in relatively good shape, meaning, dudes don't look over like they, overdone too many things. But I think the biggest thing is you have a sense of being able to do multiple things. I know in my home, as the seasons changed, we painted my mother's entire apartment. We did the floors. We had tile floors. So I learned how to use one of those, machines that strips the wax and all that stuff. We learned how to do laundry and, all these nefarious things. We got to where we are now, because even now, my lady and I, the apartment we have a dishwasher. I actually never use a dishwasher. I still wash dishes because I grew up washing dishes. I know how to get in there and catch those creases and look for, things.
Yeah,
but that,
yeah,
that's me. But I realized that, to the point Kevin was making, like he said, we're responsible for what we see now, because in theory, we've in a lot of ways made it easier for our children, because like I said, some weird way we thought to ourselves, learning how to do the things that we learned how to do was just too much. But I like to believe that it has made us a pretty rock solid generation of men and women who, for the better part of anything else, we can kind of maneuver anyway, or anything that comes to us, because we've had the opportunity to be in those different spaces. Part of the issue now is these kids, or the new generations that came behind us, they only have semblances of certain things. So they only know how to be prepared for those things based off of what they, unfortunately had the opportunity to really experience. So it is a bit of a catch-22, but I hope and pray that, we continue to try to turn those lights on in our children, because they're going to need it as they move forward, good, bad, or indifferent. Because like I said, it's helped us all survive and, get to where we are. Which
Absolutely.
Has been,
we were raised to be independent.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
We were raised to be independent. My
100.
mother and father were not in charge of entertaining me. Right.
Well, like somebody said earlier in the live, they said we all went outside, we played, we did things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the way we were. It's a shame now that we can't do that. I wish we I think Ernst has said something, and I'm paraphrasing to what he was saying about we had activities and programs. A shame. I really would love to see a politician bring that kind of stuff back. It's a shame that we have a PAL, and I don't see any damn kids playing in it. I don't know who the hell's in the PAL. You know what I'm saying?
But we also, like I said, we were independent. I went to my own sporting events. Right,
Yes.
There were times I took the bus. I remember
Yeah.
third grade. My mother putting me on a city bus, telling the bus driver what block I'm getting off so I can go play my soccer game.
Yeah.
Right.
See?
Yeah.
My daughter's in the 5th grade. I won't leave her home for 3 minutes by herself.
Yeah.
You can't. You know what I'm saying? Stefania said we allow the dominant society to brainwash us and break out our families apart. Absolutely. Cheryl said, till this very day, if I call out to my children who are all grown, they answer yes. That's the way you bring them up. Stefania also said our value system changed. Definitely. So, Kev, before we will be on too long, Amir and Kev, I just want to ask you, what's your take on if you know about it? I mean, it's out there in the news. The Kanye, the Kyrie situation, like David Chappelle said, Kanye talked out to turn too much. He got Kyrie in trouble.
That was great. Like you said, just before Kev says what he has to say. You're absolutely right, Kev. He so brilliantly takes whatever moments are going on in the world, and the way he presents it is so thought-provoking and done with such, panache, and done in such a brilliant way that if you don't love it or like it, then I almost have to think that there's something wrong with you, because it's not done in a way that would be malicious. It's not done in a way that seemingly feels as though he's trying to, tell you what you should feel and what you should think. I feel as though he just gives you some parameters and some things and some spaces to go. you know what? Maybe I didn't think about that, or maybe I didn't see it in that light per se. But I'm glad that he at least has brought it up in that way and allows you to, like I said, formulate your own opinions. So I think that his his monologue was unbelievable. I was like, this dude he's scary. He's scary.
Yeah, sorry, my kid was talking. 100%. I don't know Kanye's thing. I tried reading as we're talking. There's too much to read, so I'm gonna skip him.
Well, I just want
Kyrie though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kyrie.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a back. First, I'm not a big basketball fan. I've never watched an entire game in my life because it's during hockey season, and that's the real man sport. But am I allowed to say that? That didn't get me cut off.
No, brother, I ain't mad at
you. Kyrie's had a crappy reputation, so I was never a fan of the man. But I can't say I know the man.
Right.
Listening to this, I now have respect for the man. I want him to stand by his guns.
Yeah.
Right. Like all he did was retweet something. He didn't say anything awful. He didn't say anything bad. He didn't say he supported or was against it. Nothing. God bless him, and I hope he stands his ground.
Yeah.
Like that's my opinion at this point. I have not watched that movie. I might watch it at some point. I read a little bit of stuff. It sounds more thought-provoking to me.
You know what's so funny? Like somebody said, I think Amir and I touched on it last week.
I'll be back in a second. I gotta kiss the kids goodnight.
All right. Yeah. Like you and I said, I mean, nobody's holding Amazon accountable for promoting this thing. I have chosen not to watch it as much as I'm in journalism now, that I wanted to see what the conversation was about that made him post it, right? But I will not support it, because if I watch it, then it gets viewership. I'm trying to get people to watch Real Talk Chronicles. Damn, Negroes the heroes and Hebrews, I don't know about that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to support this Negro. You know what I'm saying? This Real Talk Chronicles.
Real talk.
I'm not going to watch it. The one thing that when we start talking historically, I think people have a problem when Black people know their history.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying.
Agree.
We have a problem with that, and I saw how somebody came out and denounced Chappelle and said, he couldn't believe SNL co-signed him, making light of the Jewish situation. You know what's so funny? We understand the pecking order, everybody. Let me keep it 100. This is real talk. We understand the pecking order, how this shit go. But let's say this. If you ain't going to be in support of all anti-Semitic statements against anybody and ethnicities and culture and races, then don't pick yours. You know what I'm trying to say? So with that being said, we're from an era that we went to see comics make jokes of all ethnicities.
Yes.
Right now, you can't even tell the truth about some shit or promote some or post something that says, here, do your own due diligence and look at it and read it for yourself. And Kyrie, he never said I support it. He said I didn't write it. He said I just posted it. And the thing is, now let me just go into this topic. There are people out here that's saying, let's denounce Nike because they cut Kyrie off. Listen, we as people, we're gonna have to pick what shit we gonna fight for. You know what I'm saying? Because now all of a sudden we want to stop Nike. People ain't gonna stop wearing Nike. People ain't gonna stop buying Nike. Because if little Petey, a little Amir, a little Kevin, a little Billy want to wear some Nike, we gonna buy Nike. And we're gonna shut his little ass up. If we told him, we said we're gonna get you what you want because you got an A. Listen, the Kyrie's not our issue. We understand that he got it. A lot of people, Kev, Amir, Bill, you're a rich dude. You brought that smoke on yourself. people didn't like the way you addressed it. You know, listen, David Chappelle is like that video they always say. No matter what David Chappelle says, he's still hitting these cats off the shoulder like this. Like what? What? He's saying what he wants. If you had a problem with what David Chappelle said at Saturday Night Live, then you might be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Because he just kept it 100. He didn't say anything that wasn't already out there in the world factual. You know what I'm saying? And he just made light of it. Kevin, like you always say, you know, you and I always talk about the time when we were in the car and we talked about some certain situation and we had that dialogue. If you can't have dialogue, and that's why our friendship is where it is today, if you can't have that dialogue, then what can we talk about? You know what I'm saying? Thoughts and comments, everybody. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm Bill Forster. That's Kevin Branzetti. That's Amir Sealy. Kevin, what's your thoughts on that?
Look, I gave you my thought on it. I thought Kyrie, I'm glad he's standing up for himself. Chappelle mentioned it in his dialogue about this is why he doesn't take sponsors.
Yeah.
So he's never beholden to anybody. Yeah. He's rich enough. You know, you and the three of us can use some of that kind of money. That man doesn't need it. Kyrie will survive, right? If he loses his things, Kanye's going to survive. Like those guys are all going to survive.
Yeah. Like it's crazy.
Better than us.
You go from a billionaire to a millionaire. Oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that was pretty funny. Right?
You went from 11 billion to a $400 million man. Oh my God! What kind of problems does he have in his life? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, none of the problems that you and I got. Yeah.
Hold on, y'all guys talk. I gotta do something.
I think, you know, when you add to it, I just think this. I think that, you know, again, like you said, it is what it is in terms of how people, you know, feel and what they think. I think we have to stop always saying and feeling as though that because somebody takes a stance and we may or may not agree with it, then that makes it right or wrong. It just, you don't agree with it, and that's okay. We live in this world and we tend to just believe that, you know, Bill is taking a stance or Kevin's taking a stance and I don't like the stance that they're taking, so therefore I have a problem with Kevin, as opposed to, like you just said, having dialogue where you then have an opportunity to understand. And you can still, after having understanding, disagree. It's okay. The Kyrie situation, like I said, for me personally, what I find strikingly upsetting about it is this. The two of you gentlemen, like I said, former police officers or whatever, being a policeman was what you did as a form of work. It did not necessarily mean that's who Kevin is and that's who Bill is. And no,
but you know what's so funny? Amir, I'm glad you said that, because there is a pitch of him where we have this saying, people bleed blue. And we've always had this dialogue, and maybe next week we'll talk about what that really entails again, because that's something to resurface, because there's something that just came up. I was reading in regards to some Minnesota cops. They pulled a couple guys over and they searched them in the street without gloves. They kind of gave them a cavity search and all kind of stuff. So it's a big thing. Kevin, I think I sent, I don't know if I sent it to you to Instagram. I mean, if I find it, I'll send it to you to Instagram. If not Instagram or WhatsApp or something like that. But I say all that to say that there's so many different things that we have dialogue on, and still people don't understand. Like the one thing that I think Kevin and I always try to give people when we started doing the Wednesdays is a different perspective of how things could be done. You know what I'm saying? Kev knows I've asked out to my white friends, and I hate to say it like that because it sounds so stupid, my white friends to come on and speak. But you can go into these other groups and be around like-minded people. Like I said, it was so disheartening to hear people say, because Judge wear a Black Lives Matter shirt, that they hoped he didn't get the record because he needs to stay out of politics. Like, yo, my thing was, if you feel that way, how did you do your job? Because you're supposed to do your job to protect and serve the community. But it's obviously we have biases, and we all have biases. You know,
biases. Like, that's understandable.
Go ahead. Hold on a minute. Like Kevin said one time, like somebody had said, "Oh yeah," I think his ex or somebody at the time had said, "Yeah, the person was like, yeah, you white biatch. And then Kevin was like, is she, or was he just speaking, you know what I'm saying, in universe? I think you were talking about they were in the driving kind of road
It
rage.
was a road rage incident, and there was a black
Yeah.
guy who called her, you know, white bitch, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't take that as he was being racist. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, like anger and things come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Right?
But the point that I was trying to make is, like I said, beyond doing what you guys, like I said, did, you're also human beings, which means, like I said, uniform on or off, you still have to deal with the real world. I'm sick and tired of us acting as though, whether you're in any form of whatever, that you're not a human being first. Those things are what allows you to have resources, maybe to take care of your family and so forth and so on. The reality of it all, though, is beyond those things, you're a human being who has to deal with the realities of what the world is truly and really like. And I think that it's unfortunate that if you post something on whatever your, social media platform is, somebody's judging you based off of the fact that you also have to, again, be a part of the real world. What your job is your job. That's a whole separate entity. But what you do once you're not under the guise of being on the clock or whatever, is you having to deal with the real world. And the fact that we act as though, whether you're an entertainer, whether you're a police officer, whether you're a sports figure, whether you work in corporate America, that you don't have ties to the real world. In what alternate universe do we live like that?
Right.
I'm tying this all back in together, right? We talked about earlier about politicians and why there aren't good ones. And I think this is part of the problem, right? It is, Bill talked about we couldn't get other people to come on this show. It's nerve-wracking because if I say one thing that could be taken out of context and somebody copies that video, I'm effed, right? The potential for me being labeled something out there, it is nerve-wracking. So to be a good human being and to put yourself to run for office and run for things, and now everything that you've ever done in your entire life is going to be scraped, drilled apart, scooped up, and plastered everywhere, is nerve-wracking. Because we all have stupid little things we've done. And God forbid, like, Bill, we laugh about the things that we used to say in a locker room together. Like, no jokes. There was no line we couldn't cross. Zero. Race, sex, orientation, we didn't care. It was amongst each other. It was funny. I still find it, funny.
Yeah, but now you have to be wary of it, but that's my point. Like, we've gotten so sensitive about every single solitary thing that we no longer allow ourselves to go, this wasn't meant with malintent, it wasn't meant maliciously, it wasn't meant to offend. There are things that people say and moments that people are in that are just the moment. That's it. No more, no less. We used to be able, if y'all, like you said, talk about real stuff on this show. But Kevin, the shows that we technically grew up on, the soaps, the Archie Bunkers, the Jeffersons, the list goes on and on. If you were to try to play some of these shows now, oh my God, the boycotting and the cancellation would be incredible. Now, does it make it right? No, but it was what was prevalent at the time. And it was a way to try to make the world more aware of some of the things that people were faced with. We are so quick to believe that, oh my God, that isn't this or that isn't that. When the reality of it all is there might be a small percentage of the world who actually is this or that. And it's okay. Nobody's here to tell you that your version of the world, whatever that may be, is right or wrong. That's where all of the problems in lie. I'm watching us just slowly, truly try to destroy each other just based off of me having a different ideology than you. And the reality of it all is my pathway, the things that I might have experienced, the things that I might have gone through are totally different from what you've gone through. So it's okay. I'm not saying that what I've gone through is right and that everything that I say is pristine and God's honest truth. I'm saying that this was my pathway. This is what I had to deal with. And I'm hoping that you're living and walking and standing on your truth because that's what you had to deal with. The reality of it all is this world, Bill alluded to a little earlier when he said pecking order. I think that it's horrible that we even have to utilize words like pecking order and things like that, because like I said, we're all human beings first. The last thing that we are colors, religious sects, and this and that and the third. We're human beings first. And if anybody under any of those guises don't see that and don't understand that part of the equation, that's the problem. That's the real problem. All this other stuff that everybody's trying to, these little groups that we're trying to get in and be a part of, for what? For what? What does that prove? Who is that going to help? Now you in this little sect over here that, we keep stoking the fire and stop. He alluded to it earlier, the alphabet mafia, as we, allude to them as now from time to time. Y'all upset about everything? Everything? You decided that everything that we've known to grow and love, we have to have this version or that version of it. This is what I know. Last time I checked, and y'all can allude to this because you gentlemen, like I said, in the same generation I'm in, we only had a few different places that we could find entertainment. 5, 7, 9, 13, 11. I forget, if I'm forgetting any, forgive me. But now you have multiple channels and or whole stations where you can put content that can be specific to whatever it is you want to watch. And you're trying to bombard everybody else because what exactly? You see what I'm getting at? That's the problem. Yeah. That's the problem. You have a whole channel where you can, if you want a gay superhero forever, and the logo channel is your then you can make all kind of programming, put it on there, and everybody can be happy. You can watch it. But why do you have to put that on ABC when I'm watching whatever show that I've grown to watch and become happy about? Why? I'll wait. That's why I said we don't really want to address true issues. What we want to do is skirt around them, and we want to point fingers, because for each and every one of us, not necessarily us and some of the people who are watching this show, that's not what we're about. But the world as a whole, as opposed to taking accountability, because that's the key word to all of this, we're gonna point fingers. It's their fault over there. They're the reason why. No, you're the reason why, because you're not taking accountability for yourself. When we get back to that, this will be so much of a better place overall.
Yo, it's so crazy. It is. It is. I mean, you was putting you had all the nails lined up, and you were just hitting them all with the hammer on the head, brother. Because let me tell you something. You and Kevin right now, we all been rocking. The one thing about Real Talk, we try to come with a solution. We understand what the problem is. We about dissecting it and come with a solution. That's what Real Talk is about. We say this all the time. Mayor, you know this. I do a brunch party coming up, off the chain. If people rock with me like that, they do on some positivity, I'd be a different place right now. We all would be doing different stuff. I just want to read some of the comments because I'll be remiss not to have people chime in, and they chime in. I want to read what they say. Roscoe said, nobody had a problem when Ye said slavery was a choice. Yeah, you was off the chain with that one, because I don't know how you thought slavery was a choice. And not everybody was built like Nat Turner. You know what I'm trying to say? So Cheryl said, no, you didn't, Kevin. She said, but I'm a hockey fan as well. Stephanie said they're upset because he didn't take that damn vaccine. Yeah, that's a big choice. Let me read some more of these comments. And then let's see. Thank you, Ern. He said, yeah, give him a Bill Real Talk. Stephanie said, all of a sudden now, anytime you say anything pertaining to the Jewish community, even factual things now, you're anti-Semitic. Yeah, that's crazy. When some people gonna be anti-black? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, listen, but we are our worst enemy. We still want to call us the N-word, and we still want to do things and act a fool. And I mean, our brown people, we got to cut that out, because we have to respect ourselves and hold accountability. That's why I appreciate you, Amir, because you always dress to impress. You want your ensemble to be your entrance when you come in the door. That's your business card. So I totally get it. Rochelle said, thank you for this platform. I appreciate you. Stefania said, did y'all see the video of the 6 cops beating a black man in his jail cell? He was arrested for speeding, I believe. Did you see that, Kev?
I caught a glimpse of the article. I have not watched the thing. Let's throw that on for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just want to bring it up too. Also, too, I just got somebody sent me something about a blind man was walking down the street, and cops thought that he was. I just got the text, and they thought he had a weapon, and they arrested him for that shit. Like, so I mean, there's just shit. There's so many crazy things out here. Roscoe also said, independent thinking. It's not popular. Shaking my head. Stop worrying about my priorities and my ideals. Think about, think and do for yourself. Much. I think he said much what people think. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Muck what people think. Mine, I matter. I don't mind cause your own. I don't mind because your own opinion don't matter to me. Exactly. Robert, my man Robert in the building. He said it's just like Superman. He saves the world, but Clark Kent is a kind, mild-mannered reporter. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's so funny. We living in a world with a lot of different things. Rochelle's in the building always. Human beings first. He just nailed it. Absolutely. Stefani said, did you guys discuss the young lady that was killed? I don't know. We can close out with that, and we can bring that up again. Could we get out of here? Did you see about the young lady that was in Mexico, Kev? I'll send you some information. Check your messenger on that. Or
yeah, next week.
I'll text you. Yeah, we'll do it next week. About the young lady, we'll just close out with this. Young lady went to Mexico, right, Malika, with her girlfriends or friends, male friends, just guys and girls. Yeah, group of people. And they said she died due to intoxication. But come to find out, she had a broken neck and broken spine, all kind of crazy shit. Like, yo, listen, we got to definitely do better as a world, as a country. Everybody, I'll start off. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I appreciate you all for being here with us. The schedule's different, the times are different, but the content is still as strong as ever. I appreciate you all for watching and being with me and being with my co-host. You know, we're always going to do what we do and keep it 100. That's just who it is. It's Real Talk, straight there. We're fostering the moment. How about that? Stay strong. Do your due diligence. Watch your back. Be careful. The holiday seasons are coming on us. Try to spend it with the loved ones. Be with people that care about you. Stay away from the haters, the naysayers. Just keep it positive, man. You know, positive vibes. That's all I'm about. Good energy. Love thyself. If you love yourself, treat people like you treat yourself, then you shouldn't have a problem, man. I'll defer to Amir, and then Kevin, you can close out. Go ahead, Amir.
Again, first and foremost, thank you, gentlemen, for having me on here and allowing me to share and give my dissertation about the different topics. Secondly, I just want to reiterate what Bill said. It is the holiday season, so everybody, please, enjoy your loved ones. This as you close out the year, I always look at it like this. As we close out the year, do yourself a favor, do some self-reflection. Some things that you feel were good, bad, or indifferent, either delete them, upgrade them, or figure out if they're even still useful for you, and then make the necessary adjustments, as I always say, so you can win your championship. I'm always humbled and thankful to get on here and, like I said, to share with you guys. My motto, if y'all have seen me on other platforms, is nice to be important, but it's much more important to be nice. I always ask everybody to take that with you, use it in your life, and I promise you it'll open up doors and put you in places and spaces that you never thought possible. So I give you all that nugget, and again, I just thank you.
And let me just say this. We will not be here next Wednesday because that'll be the pre-Thanksgiving. So, people are trying to get things together with their families and stuff like that. And Kevin, you've been on the road. Kevin, you and I got to talk about some stuff because I have stuff that people will need your assistance on, and you can close out with that too if you're letting us know what's going on in that world, if there's anything you want to divulge. But yeah, I'm all about the content right now and the quality. I don't have to hit you every day, but I want to get you all the stuff. I'll find out if Allison is available next week, so maybe Monday, but if not, then we might have that little holiday, and then we'll come back, but definitely, hopefully to see you guys on the 30th. Amir, you definitely can come here. Roscoe, you said you want to be on the 30th. You're definitely welcome to come on. So anybody, let me just say this. Kevin and I have said this We've been doing this damn near 2 years now. Anybody's welcome to join the show. Just know that you know what the hell you're talking about. That's all. We just want you to know what you're talking about. Just come on the show. Amir, you're always welcome. You do this spot stuff, but you're always welcome to come on Wednesdays or Mondays, whatever day. Come back next on the 30th, Amir, and rock out with us. Thank you, Colin. Thank you all. Roscoe, you with us anytime if you want to come on, Roscoe, and we can chop it up. And Kev, let us know what's happening in your world, what you're doing, and give us some positive affirmation, and we get out of here.
All right. Well, have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks, maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
A couple of pounds heavier. Yeah. But it's okay. It's okay. It's that time of year. I preach this when you're doing these things, when you have elections are coming up, family gatherings. What's your goal? So if your goal is in the political world that you have a real strong belief in something or several things. I watched during the elections, people near me putting these signs in front of their house. I don't care if you put the person you're running for in front of your house, but it was more political belief stuff, like in their lawn. Like whose mind does that change? Who will then, like, that's my neighbor. I'm not even talking to them, right? Like, there's no dialogue. There's no conversation. I'm done with you. If your goal is to change things in the world, then you have to have dialogue with people.
Yeah.
And you have to exchange ideas. If you're just going to put your stake in the ground and scream, I want X, and that's it, you are never going to improve anything in this world. Yeah. You're just going to be part of the thing that's divided us. Think of that for your holidays, right? We're going to be on big tables, hopefully with family members, and we're going to have disagreements. What's your goal? If your goal is to change crazy Uncle Louie a little bit, you got to feed breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
And you got to take it down a notch.
And then take the liquor away, too, because Uncle Louie, he don't know how to stop.
Give him more. Let him pass out watching the game. Yeah. But you got to remember what is your goal? And that should always be a question you're asking yourself when you're engaging people, when you're doing something. How do I get my goal? Sometimes you got to take a little step backwards. Sometimes you got to take your pride out of it. Sometimes you got to put your pride first. But whatever it is, my goal is my first thing. And then I can progress and do everything else. The stuff I'm doing now with my task force, you see the initials on here, National Child Protection Task Force. Things are going very well. We're a nonprofit that helps law enforcement find missing, exploited, trafficked kids. And we are trying to change the dynamic. I got some things off the air I could talk to you guys about because I can't mention it on the air that we're really trying to change how we investigate, find, and help our kids. And as a society, we are failing them completely. Yeah. All right. Our missing kids become our trafficked kids. They become our assaulted kids. They become our raped kids. They become our homicide kids. They also become our thugs and street shooters, right? Like people who've grown up in broken homes, the odds of them having these problems, we're failing them. And that's what a major thing, what my group, my organization, what we're trying to change. So Giving Tuesday's coming up. If you guys, have an entity, an organization you want to give to, you can always check out mine. I will guarantee you the work goes to the most righteous of things in this world.
Kevin, if you're on a YouTube channel, type it in so people can see it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. Can I just add one more thing real quick? Because like you said,
absolutely.
I know we won't be back.
Absolutely, brother. Mm-hmm.
I just, my mom may see this somewhere down the line. So the 23rd will be my mother's 84th birthday. So I want to give a big birthday shout out to my mother. And, just let her know, Ma, hopefully I'm making you proud and doing the family some justice. So I just wanted to say that real quick. Happy birthday, Mom. Love you.
And shout out to your mother, to the queen. Listen, a lot of our parents, Kevin, your parents are still alive, right? Yeah. So,
my parents are kids.
Yeah. But
they were babies having babies.
Yeah. Shout out to the parents that are still here that have laid the groundwork. Like Malika's mother, I always tell Malika I love the way her and her mother interact. you know, I was in DC. I went to see my father's grave, and you know, so many different emotions go through when you know you go to that site. The anxiety of going to see a grave site. You know, people that remind me of my parents that have taken that parental guidance on. So maybe that's something we could be cognizant of and do our due diligence and respect our parents more. And you know, we don't have the youth listening to us. Maybe people, you know, show the love, put the hearts up, share it. I'll put this on YouTube. Share it to your page, please. Help me build a brand, so we can just keep this positive energy going. Listen, if we change somebody's mind, Kevin, Amir, whomever's here, if we change somebody's mind on anything, then we've done our job. You got one step at a time. That's all we ask. And we're not jumping off the bridge. We walk into the, you know, we walking. We just taking walks, but we're gonna do it together. You know, happy holidays to everybody. I appreciate you. I'm not a big holiday person, but I respect the holidays. I love them. I love people getting together. I just think it's awesome. So, fellas, listen, this is Real Talk. That's Amir Sealy. Amir, if people want to follow you, watch you, where can they watch you at on Instagram? I know you and Talent, you do your thing still. One day I got to jump on with you guys and chop it up with you
on
guys.
our Motivational Monday. So you got me down there at A-Rock Sealy on Instagram. On Mondays, I do a show called Motivational Mondays. I know you do your show on Mondays. It's on WEMS Radio, WEMS.radio. It's on Facebook. You can find that thing on Facebook. You can go look up older shows that we've done on that site. And then we do the race debaters usually on Fridays when we can find the time, because, you know, Talent is back, you know, doing what he's doing. So we find the time, we try to get race debaters. And that's usually on Instagram, 6 p.m. on Fridays. And it's called Race Debaters. And it's just us talking about the similarities, talking about how much more similar we are than different. And we know that, unfortunately, the world is trying to, like I said, make us be, you know, so different, but we're really not. We're all a lot more alike than we'd like to believe. So, thank you.
Stefania said, happy birthday to your moms. People shouting out moms. Kev, you put your information in here. Kudos to you. Like I said, I got some people that reached out to me that want your services or find out how we can get you to speak, you know, at something that they want to put together.
Let's talk tomorrow, Bill. Give me a ring tomorrow. Text me.
All right. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll chop it up.
I want to talk about some other stuff too, so let's chat tomorrow.
All right. Everybody have a good night. Peace and love. Everyone. All right. Be careful.